The day after Thanksgiving, you realize there's a lot of leftover turkey. What are you going to do with it all? Today, we're sharing 4 of our favorite ways to use the leftovers, from easy snacks like nachos to a comforting turkey curry.
Hi, I'm Angie. Welcome back to Dinner and a Side, where my sister and I share our favorite dinner combos. Follow along while we show you how to make 4 great turkey dishes. Our first, and probably favorite, is this leftover turkey sandwich. You can use up all those fixins in this one sandwich, which is great. And you can customize it however you like. You're gonna need the hoagie rolls, and some turkey, and whatever else you have left over. I like to use stuffing, cranberry sauce, and some brie on mine, but mashed potatoes and gravy are good too. First, preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 175 degrees Celsius. Grab your hoagie roll. You can make as many as you want with this recipe, but today I'm only making a sandwich for myself. Place a few slices of brie on the bottom half of the hoagie roll. I found that thinner slices work best for this. The cheese just melts easier. If you don't like brie, you could always try a different cheese like Swiss or maybe even cream cheese. Then layer on the turkey, the stuffing, and the cranberry sauce. Get the top bun put on as good as you can so that you don't lose any of your filling. Wrap the sandwich up in tin foil. And pop it into the oven for about 30 minutes. If you have some leftover gravy, now is the perfect time to get that heated up. You want it to be hot and ready when the sandwiches come out of the oven. This is gonna be so good. Remove the tinfoil from the sandwich. Serve it hot with the gravy poured inside the sandwich. It is so good. Next up is my favorite, turkey enchiladas. No one said that enchiladas had to be made with chicken or beef. Leftover turkey is just as good. For this dish, you'll need leftover shredded turkey, of course,
along with onions, garlic, green chilies, some spices, enchilada sauce, you can use canned or make your own, some tortillas, and lots of cheese.
First, you want to preheat the oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 200 degrees Celsius. And then you can grease a 13 by 9 baking dish.
In a skillet, saute the onions for 2 to 3 minutes. Next, add the shredded turkey, green chilies, cumin, and chili powder.
We'll let that cook for about 2 minutes and then set it aside. So before I heat up the enchilada sauce, I like to pour a little bit in the bottom of the pan to keep the tortillas from sticking and getting crunchy. Just these a little bit in the bottom.
Now you can pour the rest into the pan and heat it just until it's steaming. Then turn off the heat.
I'm using yellow corn tortillas for my enchiladas today. If you want to be a little less traditional, you can use flour tortillas as well.
Dip a tortilla into the sauce. Then put it into the baking dish.
Fill each enchilada with about 1/4 of a cup of the turkey mixture and a little bit of cheese. All right, so this is the last one. I've got about 8 of them in here. You can fit as many as you like. I find with these, the way I stuff them, it fits about 7 to 8.
Pour all of that remaining enchilada sauce over the top of the dish.
And then you can sprinkle on the rest of the cheese. I like to have cheesy enchiladas, so I'm gonna put a lot on the top. Okay, before I put this in the oven, I like to cover it with a little bit of tin foil. And then I also like to spray the underside of the tin foil so that it doesn't stick to the cheese.
Bake it for 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, you can remove the foil and then continue baking it for 5 more minutes.
Oh, look how great that looks. Yum.
Garnish with chopped green onions and cilantro and serve with any additional toppings that you like.
I'm a huge fan of casual dinners, and these turkey nachos are great for when you want to keep it simple. Preheat your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit or 190 degrees Celsius, and then line a baking sheet with parchment paper. Set the baking sheet aside for now, and let's mix up the turkey. In a pan, mix the turkey, the taco seasoning, and 3 tablespoons of water. Cook it until it's hot and steamy, and then turn it off. Okay, I'm gonna grab my baking sheet, and we're gonna spread the chips out evenly. You can use as many as you need, depending on how many people you're gonna feed. Spread half the cheese over the chips. I'm using cheddar cheese, but feel free to use what you like. Then spread on the turkey. Get it evenly coated. Sprinkle the beans on top. I like to make sure there's enough for every bite. I like to put more cheese on top at the end. You can never have too much cheese, right? Bake it for 8 minutes or until the cheese is nice and melty. There are all kinds of toppings for nachos. I like to use fresh tomatoes, jalapenos from my garden, and some avocado. Just load it up with whatever you like.
Our final dish today, Thai turkey curry, is one of my favorite dishes to make. I usually make it with chicken, but it's fantastic with turkey too, and it's so easy to make. This is a Thai curry. It uses coconut milk and a red curry paste. Actually, you can use any curry paste you like. Penang, I love, or a yellow curry. Whatever you have on hand or can easily get is fine. I've got a pan over medium heat, and I'm just gonna saute the onions with the olive oil for about 3 to 4 minutes until they're softened. Then you can stir in the garlic and give it another minute. As I mentioned, I'm using red curry today, and the brand that I like to use is called May Ploy. It comes in these little cans. There's probably about 3 uses in here, so I put the leftovers into a bag and freeze them for later, and then I can make some more curry. Add the curry paste right into the pan. Whisk it in and let it cook for about 3 minutes to become aromatic. Add the chicken stock, coconut milk, fish sauce, and palm sugar. Put it over about medium heat and then whisk it a little bit just to get everything combined and get that sugar all mixed up in the bottom. It's starting to smell wonderful. Then add the bell peppers and the turkey and simmer it for about 5 minutes until the sauce thickens up a bit. Yum, this is cooked down a little bit so it's a bit thicker. I've turned it off the heat and I'm just gonna put in the basil leaves now so that they can wilt a little bit while we're getting ready to plate. I love basil leaves, so I'm putting in quite a few. Use as many or as little as you like. This is perfect. Let's serve it up. If you ask me, this is a fantastic meal no matter when you serve it, but you really can't go wrong with it as a fall meal with leftover turkey. And there are 4 great turkey recipes you can enjoy this year. Grab the recipes in the description.